Warning advisory. The following audio diaries were presented to GoatMan Hollow Productions via an unknown source. GMH Productions cannot validate the authenticity of these recordings or the information provided within. GMH Productions cannot be held responsible for all or any information contained in these recordings or any circumstances that may occur as a result of listening to them in full or in part. You are advised to listen at your own risk.
Day 6, 3:05 a.m. Even though the Lotsford Journal has ended, I was able to continue on with my research by going through all the other files I found hidden in the storage unit below this one. I started with the Fletcher file just to see where it might take me, and I have to say, it is turning out to be just as interesting as the Lotsford file. In the file are many things that lead me to believe that Stephen Fletcher was onto William and his betrayal. I just haven't been able to figure out if he discovered the truth soon enough to stop William from killing his wife or not, as everything in this file is very cryptic and mysterious. But somehow Glendale was able to gather what appears to be the original documents from Fletcher's lab. Again, Glendale sure was one hell of an investigator to be able to find most of these documents. I'm assuming at this point that Fletcher is the one who wrote most of what I have found in this file, as I don't have anything to compare any of the handwriting to. Some of the documentation is scientific mumbo-jumbo talking about DNA and human gene splicing that I have no knowledge in. I even found papers that coincide with the journal I found earlier about the time machine device that Glendale mentioned. But none of the handwriting matches between the two pieces of evidence. Most of these documents are just notes about odd things here and there, like need more goats, or must rework the DNA strain to resemble Jenny's. But then there is something like another journal in this file. The handwriting is horrid and almost illegible, and the ink used to write it is beginning to fade. But I've been able to pick some things out of it that appears to imply that Fletcher was onto William and was planning on something really big for him as a way of getting revenge. Here's one thing that helps me come to this conclusion. William is beginning to get sloppy with his work. It's like he's trying to sabotage my experiments to cure Jenny. I've noticed today that he was introducing a foreign strain into the mixture. Luckily, I stopped him before he did. Otherwise, he would have destroyed the entire series of experiments from here on out. He cannot be trusted with working on the DNA restructuring procedure. If he were not my friend of many years, I would have kicked him out of my lab immediately. His father was right. William does not possess the intelligence to deal with such complicated and vital procedures. I have to keep an eye on him, but I fear I will soon have to figure out a way to get rid of him so he does not cause any more trouble. Now see, I can't tell if Fletcher is catching on here or if he's just complaining about William's work habits and getting frustrated with his mistakes. I'm still at a loss as to where all of this is taking place. I would expect at this point that all of this is happening at the Fletcher estate, since Stephen has built some sort of lab there to conduct all these experiments. And at this point, I still have no information telling me where the estates are, or were. Although I'm sure they have been long gone by now. The only thing I have been able to find is that the estates were located somewhere in Hyattsville, just a few miles down the road from the Beltsville labs. Oh well, it's not like it really matters at this point. I'm sure that I'll find nothing even if I did go to wherever the estates were. Getting back to the Fletcher Journal is the only thing I can do, so here I go. And it's written, "The procedures failed again today. William is really beginning to worry me. He is second-guessing my every move and going behind me to check my work. I guess I'm getting a bit too suspicious, but his father's sudden disappearance concerns me. And I have never been able to forget that, even though it has happened years ago. I fear something bad happened to him, and William might have been behind it. I hope I am wrong, as I really care for William like a brother. He is like part of my family. Hell, he is the only family I have left besides Jenny and the children. He has always stood by my side for as long as I can remember. I don't think he would ever do anything to harm me, but I can't say that about anyone else. And that is what scares me the most. Am I worrying too much for no reason? I think I am. And I must get back to my work to cure Jenny. Her illness is progressing, and I fear that I don't have much time. Best thing is that William is good with the children. It is hard to believe that Jenny and I have been married for 5 years now. She is the dearest thing to me on earth. I will save her. I will find a cure. I must." Wow, 5 years. There must be something missing from these journals. There's an awful long span of time from one entry to another. It's hard to tell whether all these pages, with all this pages being loose and disorganized. No matter. The only thing that matters at this point is that Fletcher seems to be getting more suspicious of William as the years roll on. 5 years? I would have guessed that William would have done away with her by now. Unless this is part of his plan, to drag on Jenny's illness and keep her dangling in peril to keep Stephen hard at work in his labs and spending more time with him. That has to be it. William Losford, you're one cold son of a bitch, just like your father. This all has to be taking a real toll on Stephen. He is sure to snap one day, if he ever finds out about the truth. I should keep reading, but I need to step out and get some fresh air and stretch my legs. I'm going nuts in the storage container. I will return to the saga once I have had time to just do that. 36-427.